Hi sir. Hello everyone. So today I would like to give you a small demonstration class. That is, the topic is glycolysis. Okay, it's a part of aerobic respiration. So first of all, what is respiration? So Respiration is the process in which organic substrates undergo oxidation and reduction reactions to release carbon dioxide, water and energy. So the main aim of respiration is to release energy. Okay, respiration is of two types. That is, the respiration that takes place in the presence of oxygen is called aerobic respiration, and the respiration that takes place in the absence of oxygen is called anaerobic respiration. Okay, so for that, the organic substrates are required for the process of this respiration. What are those organic substrates required for the process of respiration? So it comes under cellular respiration. This topic comes under cellular respiration. External respiration, internal respiration, like that, that is the overview of the respiration. So external respiration involves exchange of gases. Internal respiration that takes place at the tissues level or cellular level. So where this real process of cellular respiration can be explained there. So in the tissues, the substances, the respiratory substrates like carbohydrates, proteins, fats. So these are the organic substrates or respiratory substrates. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. So these are available. So these are called respiratory substrates. Respiratory substrates. So organic substances, organic food substances that undergo oxidation and reduction process and releasing energy is the main part of this respiration. Okay, where does this? What is the location of this respiration process? Respiration takes place. Some part of respiration takes place in the cytoplasm, and the remaining part of respiration takes place in the mitochondria. So, which part of respiration takes place in cytoplasm? That is the first part of respiration. That is glycolysis. Okay. So, glycolysis is a common step for both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So, in aerobic respiration, what will happen? The glucose will be oxidized and gives rise to carbon dioxide. Oxidation of glucose gives rise to carbon dioxide and energy. Energy is released. So, and then this comes under aerobic respiration. About 686 kilocalories of energy is released in aerobic respiration. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, that glucose undergo partial oxidation in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, that undergo partial oxidation process and release carbon dioxide and a small amount of ATP, about 56 kilocalories of energy. 56 kilocalories of energy is released in this case. So when it comes to ATP, if you want to express in the form of ATP, 2 ATP are released in this process of anaerobic respiration. This is anaerobic respiration. Only 2 ATP are released. In the process of aerobic respiration, about 38 ATP are produced that can be expressed in the form of energy as 686 kilocalories of energy. So this is the just overview of that aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration, what are the real steps? What are the actual steps involved in the aerobic respiration? So which includes aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, that includes different steps. One is glycolysis, 2 Krebs cycle, also called citric acid cycle, and the third one is electron transport. So that is electron transport system. Electron transport system. Electron transport system. So these are the important steps under aerobic respiration. Glycolysis, Krebs cycle and electron transport system. These are the important steps present in the aerobic respiration. Okay, what is glycolysis? Now I would like to concentrate on this particular point. The first initial step of aerobic respiration is glycolysis. I would like to concentrate on this glycolysis. So what is glycolysis? So glycolysis is the process. Glycolysis. So the word lysis means to break down. The word lysis means to break down. Breaking down of glucose molecule into two molecules of pyruvates. Glucose molecule is of 6 carbon structure. Glucose molecule is of 6 carbon structure, and this 6 carbon structure will be broken into 3 carbon structures. So that is called pyruvic acid. So glucose will be converted into pyruvic acid. So what happens during glycolysis? During glycolysis, glucose as 6 carbon structure will be converted into pyruvic acid, a 3 carbon structure. So here in this process, 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, each of 3 carbon atoms will be released. So that means that is the end product of glycolysis. Pyruvic acid is the end product of glycolysis. So there are about 10 steps. There are 10 steps are present in the glycolysis process. Let me explain you all these 10 steps of glycolysis. What are the different steps? And before going to just this real process of the mechanism of glycolysis, you need to understand what are the differences between this respiration and combustion. Because why should respiration takes place? Respiration occurs inside our body. Respiration occurs inside our body in order to release energy. So releasing energy is the main motto of respiration process. Okay, so in the process of combustion also some energies will be released, but that energy will be released in the form of heat energy. So in the form of light energy, heat energy. Both are produced in combustion process. By burning some substance, you can get some light, you can get some heat, right? So that is a mere physical process, that combustion. Whereas respiration, energy is released, but here in case of respiration, energy is released in a stepwise manner, in a gradual stepwise manner inside our cells. Whereas in case of combustion, energy will be released at once. You heat a magnesium wire, kind of light can be illuminated. So that energy is expressed in the form of light, that is light energy, when you are burning a magnesium wire, right? So what is that? So what is that? The energy is released at once there because of burning there. So you just by igniting the substance, the light energy is released. Even sometimes if you burn some other substance, it can produce heat energy, right? Heat energy. So by burning coal, okay. So you get some heat energy will be released, right? Burning of some substances directly release some heat energy. Okay, what is the difference here? The energy in case of combustion, the energy will be released at once. Whereas in case of cellular respiration that takes place inside our body cells, the energy will be released in a stepwise manner, gradual stepwise manner. Okay, that is one more difference. And what are the other differences between combustion and respiration? Combustion is a mere physical activity, whereas respiration, cellular respiration, is a physiological activity. So, and then combustion doesn't require any help of any enzymes, whereas respiration requires the help of the enzymes, right? Cellular respiration requires the help of enzymes. And in case of one more difference, in case of this cellular respiration process, energy is released in a stepwise manner. We have already discussed, and in that process, there are many certain intermediate substances are produced in case of that cellular respiration process. So, whereas in combustion, there are no intermediate substances. Simply final product will be produced in case of combustion process. So, these are some of the and one more difference you can tell that between the combustion and differences between combustion and respiration. In combustion, what happens is that is uncontrolled reaction, combustion, whereas respiration can be controlled. So combustion, once you simply, you may stop, of course, even though you started. Respiration once started cannot be stopped because once started it continues stepwise manner. It's a continuous process, cellular respiration. Okay, these are the differences between combustion and respiration. Okay, now let me take you to the steps of glycolysis. What are the steps of glycolysis? And before that, what is the significance? What is the significance of glycolysis? So because of glycolysis, the energy will be released. That is one important step. Primary step of aerobic respiration. Glycolysis is the primary step of aerobic respiration. You can see here, that is the primary step of aerobic respiration. Because of glycolysis, pyruvic acids are produced, and these pyruvic acids which are produced in the cytoplasm. Because what is the location of glycolysis? Glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm of cell. In the cytoplasm of the cell. So this pyruvic acid now will be converted into acetyl coenzyme A. Acetyl coenzyme A. So this is another intermediate substance, or this is the acetyl coenzyme A is the connecting link between glycolysis and the second step, that is the Krebs cycle. So Krebs cycle takes place in mitochondria. Krebs cycle takes place in the mitochondrium. So Krebs cycle takes place in mitochondrium. Glycolysis takes place simply in this. So this is the cell. In that cell, in the cytoplasm, glycolysis takes place. And as a result of glycolysis, pyruvic acid is the end product that is formed. Now this will enter into mitochondria. So pyruvic acid enters into mitochondria where the Krebs cycle takes place. Because of this Krebs cycle, again it is followed by electron. Krebs cycle is followed by electron transport system, and because of that, energy will be released. Large amount of energy will be released, as we have discussed. About 686 kilocalories of energy is released in that process, right? So glycolysis is the important step in the formation of energy. That is the initial phase of aerobic respiration. And is there any relevance of glycolysis with that of anaerobic respiration? Okay, so yes, the glycolysis is the important step, which is common step for both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So the pyruvic acid, which is formed as an end product as a result of glycolysis, if oxygen is available to this pyruvic acid, this will be converted. This will enter into mitochondria, and that Krebs cycle will continues, right? So if oxygen is not available, if oxygen is not available to the pyruvic acid, then what will happen? The pyruvic acid may be converted into lactic acid. Okay, it may be converted into butyric acid depending upon the place where it is going on, where that kind of respiration is going on. So in lactic acid bacteria, so it will be pyruvic acid will be converted into lactic acid there. So like that, so the fate will be decided depending upon the place where that kind of anaerobic respiration is going on. So you can also call it as a fermentation. For example, in yeast cells, what will happen? The pyruvic acid undergo a partial oxidation, that is also called fermentation, and it releases carbon dioxide and 56 kilocalories of energy, or simply 2 ATP of energy. Okay, so will be released. Ethanol is the product. C2H5OH. So 2 ATP. So ethanol, 2 ATP, and just is the small amount of energy, 2 ATP. Some carbon dioxide is released. So these are the end products of anaerobic respiration. So whenever this glucose will undergo anaerobic respiration or fermentation, it's also called fermentation, right? So it happens in brains of yeast cells. In brains of yeast cells, this kind of anaerobic respiration will take place. Okay, so now, as we have discussed, that glycolysis is the common step for both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So now, what is the real significance of glycolysis? Because of the glycolysis, not only glycolysis and even Krebs cycle also. So here some intermediate substances are present, and these intermediate substances, that intermediate substrates, which are helpful to make some other substrates, which are useful for our body to make different kinds of products. Even not only this main pathway, some other sub pathways also takes place with the help of these intermediate substrates, which are formed as a result of glycolytic pathway or even Krebs cycle. So these intermediate substances are useful to produce some other useful substances as metabolites in our body. Okay, so then, after that, so what are the glycolytic pathway? What is that glycolytic pathway? What are the steps there? Let us see that one. So now, glycolytic pathway. I'm going to explain you the steps. Glycolytic pathway. So, glycolytic pathway, glycolysis. So, glucose will be converted into glucose 6-phosphate, and then that will be converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Then it will be converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. This will be converted into two substrates here with the help of the enzyme aldolase. So it is a lysis, it is a breakdown step. So because of that, fructose 1,6-bisphosphate will be converted into two substances, that is dihydroxyacetone phosphate is one, dihydroxyacetone phosphate, the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So these are the two substances that are formed, dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. These are the two substances that are formed here. Okay, so now this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate G3P is converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid, 1,3-bi-PGA, bisphosphoglyceric acid, and now this will be converted into 3-phosphoglyceric acid, and that will be converted into 2-phosphoglyceric acid, and that will be converted into phosphoenol pyruvate, and finally it will be converted into pyruvic acid. Okay, these are the steps, and here some enzymes also take part in this glycolytic pathway. So glucose will be converted into glucose 6-phosphate hexokinase. Hexokinase is the enzyme that helps in converting glucose into glucose 6-phosphate. This glucose 6-phosphate will be converted into fructose 6-phosphate. So it is not glucose phosphorylase. Glucophosphorylase is the enzyme, phosphorylase. So what happens here? In the first step, glucose will be converted into glucose 6-phosphate because of the addition of a phosphate molecule. So actually here ATP is used, and this will be converted into ADP. The phosphate is removed actually here. Okay, and then even glucose 6-phosphate will be converted into fructose 6-phosphate. Here also a phosphate is released, and then ATP will be converted into ADP. Okay, so then just rearrangement. So fructose 6-phosphate will be converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So just one more addition of phosphate. This is a phosphorylation phase, phosphorylation step. So addition of just one phosphate here, and now this is cleavage. This is a cleavage. As a result of this cleavage, fructose 1,6-bisphosphate will be broken down into two products, that is dihydroxyacetone phosphate 1 and number 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Okay, so what are these actually the entire glycolysis can be explained in two words. That is, one is energy consuming way, or an energy consuming path. Second one is energy spending path. So up to this particular step, as shown in the dotted lines, that is energy consuming process. From glucose to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, this is an energy consuming process, and from here onwards, all the remaining steps are energy spending process. Energy will be spent here. Okay, so these are the different steps there, and enzymes here fructose 6-phosphate will be converted to fructose to 1,6 bisphosphate. Fructokinase is the enzyme, or phosphofructokinase, you can say. Phosphofructokinase is the enzyme that takes place here. And this is very important enzyme, phosphofructokinase. So it can regulate the glycolytic pathway. So it can speed up this glycolytic pathway, or it may slow down this glycolytic pathway. So that can happen here. So, and the next one, fructose 1,6-bisphosphate will be converted into, it is actually a cleavage step. Because of that, this cleavage, aldolase enzyme, which will break down this fructose 1,6-bisphosphate into dihydroxyestone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Okay, two things are formed here. So here, what's my point here is, so since the cycle takes place 2 times, because glucose will be converted into pyruvic acid. So glucose is 6-carbon atom and pyruvic acid is 3-carbon atom. It should happen twice, because 6 carbon atoms must be broken down. Then it has to release again. It has to produce again 6 more carbons, but that in the form of 3 carbon atoms. So 3 carbon atom is pyruvic acid. Again, one more time it will happen, and because of that, 2 molecules of pyruvic acid are produced in the end as end products in glycolysis. So that means the cycle can happen. Glycolysis can take place twice for oxidation of for breaking down of 1 glucose molecule and to produce 2 pyruvic acid. It must happen twice. So that is one thing. So, and now here after cleavage, what happened? So 2 substances are formed, dihydroxyestone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3 phosphates.